Loyal listeners may have noticed that we fact-check certain newspapers more than others, but we are always prepared to expand our range. For example, the front page of the pro-independent Scottish newspaper, The National, recently ran this headline.
Scotland has more tidal power capacity than the rest of the world combined.
Loyal listener Martin Murray spotted this and emailed moreorless@bbc.co.uk.
This headline in The National looks rather suspicious. Could you check if it's true, please?
Of course we can. Reporter Josephine Casserly has been looking into this. Jo, does Scotland have more tidal power capacity than the rest of the world combined?
No, it doesn't.
OK, I admire the brevity, but maybe you could give us a bit more detail?
OK. So firstly, tidal energy is the power produced from harnessing the movement of the tides. You can measure these sorts of projects from the amount of electricity that they can produce. And Scotland's tidal power capacity is currently around 10 megawatts of energy. But France has a tidal project which can produce 240 megawatts. South Korea has one that can produce 254 megawatts.
Right, so 25 times as much. And the idea that Scotland has more tidal power than the rest of the world combined is obviously way off. So where did it come from?
Well, the article is based on a report by researchers at the London School of Economics. I spoke to one of the authors, Esin Sen. She's a policy analyst working on UK energy and climate policy at LSE. She explained that there are different types of tidal energy. Their report is about one type called tidal stream energy.
Tidal stream is like wind turbines. These are smaller in capacity than wind turbines and they're installed underwater, so they capture power from moving water instead of moving air.
The other type of tidal power is called tidal range. These are large dams that capture water when the tide comes in and release it when the tide is lower, driving turbines. The article in The National, which drew on Essin's paper, was specifically about tidal stream energy.
But once it made the final cut to the front cover of the newspaper, I think the word stream was dropped. And I can really appreciate that from a communications perspective because it becomes a mouthful. But in this case, it is important to keep the distinction there throughout because it does lead to a different meaning. Scotland has leadership in tidal stream capacity, but not in tidal power overall.
Right, Scotland's the leader in tidal stream energy.
Yeah, that's right. The report that Essin worked on was based on data from Ocean Energy Systems, which is part of the International Energy Agency. And it looks at how much tidal stream capacity has been installed by major players in this area. And Scotland does have more than the other countries combined.
So we say the UK is a leader and the currently operational capacity lies in Scotland. This is true, and that's about 10 megawatts.
But tidal stream is still an emerging source of energy.
And if we put that in perspective, it's actually quite a small industry. If I give the example of the UK's overall electricity generation capacity, that's over 75 gigawatts. So that's like 75,000 megawatts. And we compare that to 10 megawatts of tidal stream. So you can see it is quite small. It is a growing industry in its early days.
And the other type of tidal power, tidal range, is much more established.
There's actually a lot more capacity of tidal range installed in the world than there is of tidal stream energy. We have major projects in France, Korea and China for tidal range, and these add up to about 500 megawatts combined. So tidal stream overall is much smaller than tidal range in the world. And what the UK and Scotland within that has leadership in is tidal stream energy.
So The National just missed out the word stream, but that meant they crossed that fine journalistic line between true and false.
Exactly. But in their online piece, the headline was actually correct. It read, Scotland has more tidal stream capacity than rest of the world combined. I emailed them to find out what happened and got a very swift reply from the reporter who wrote the article. He said, the front page missed the word stream, which should have been included, and I believe we've put a clarification in the paper to that effect in recent days. Let me know if I can be of any more help, and sorry for the wee omission on the front page.
Thank you, Josephine, and thanks to Esin Sen from the London School of Economics.